Adam Felber, welcome to the Baseball Bookshelf Conversations.
It's great to be here.
Now, I have to admit, I came upon this particular guest by accident almost. In my former job, I used to have a much longer commute. So I was able to listen to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, on which you are a regular guest every
That
week.
is true.
It was
Sure.
comfort food on my way to work Monday morning. Now my commute is about 15 minutes, so I don't have that kind of time. But my wife actually listened to it and mentioned that you were on. So, and some time off, I went back, I listened to it, and that's when I discovered that you have an alter ego who does baseball broadcasting.
It's brand new.
So it's just this season. It started because of the pandemic.
No, it's actually a dream I've had for about 6-7 years. My good friend Jeff Cesario is a comedian who I've worked with a bunch of times in TV shows here in LA, and he has an alter ego named Chet Waterhouse, and he's been showing up on Adam Carolla's show and other places as Chet for a decade or two, and he's just a hard-bitten, kind of dim Marv Albert kind of personality. And for years I've thought, what if we could do a simulcast? What if we could call games together?
So you are actually watching the ESPN Sunday Night Game of the Week and adding your...
Oh yeah, let me just explain it in a capsule. Our new thing is the Starburns Audio. That's our podcast network. It's the Starburns Sports Sunday simulcast. And the idea is, every Sunday night, you turn on your ESPN Game of the Week, turn your sound down, shut down Jason Benetti, and stream us through Starburns Audio. It goes through YouTube and Facebook and other things. You just have to go to starburnsports.com, and we provide alternative comedic commentary along with special guests.
I was going to ask, do you have special guests every week? Because the one I just watched had one of the Sklar brothers.
Yes. Well, that was our first one.
That was the first one, so I went back and I watched the first one.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Because you did the first one, and I imagine that was a little fraught with anxiety, since it was your first one. And then as you move along, it gets easier and easier as you guys know what you're doing a little better.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anxiety, because I've been a performer for a long time, but it was fraught with technical problems.
Right.
Week after week after week, we're getting better and better at it. Last week we on Sunday we just covered the Cubs-Cardinals game, which, as you know, is a great rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some fantastic guests. We had Peter Sagal, the host of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, and he dropped by for a while. He's a Red Sox fan, but he's kind of equated with the city of Chicago nowadays. And we had Matt Price, very, very talented Chicago guy. And we had, who was the other guy? We had one other really well-known. Oh, we had Jimmy Pardo, the great comedian Jimmy Pardo, who's from Conan O'Brien's camp, and he runs the Never Not Funny podcast. They all dropped by for an inning or two, and Jeff and I covered the game. And we've picked up some tricks. I've come up with some pretty clever tricks, like, for instance, ways of getting our listeners synchronized with the picture.
Mm-hmm. Because they don't see the picture, they just see you guys.
Right, and of course there's always going to be a delay, because most people are watching the game on ESPN on cable or satellite, and hearing us on the internet, we're going to be a little bit behind the game. So we encourage people to take out their remote controls, and we tell them the exact moment when the first pitch of the innings pitch is hitting the catcher's glove, and they can use their remotes to pause their broadcast and sync up perfectly, so that we really are doing the play-by-play and color commentary on the game as it goes.
So you play the character of Tommy Ginch Henderson, a former player,
Yes.
a former journeyman player, it sounds like.
Yes.
Who played with the Montreal
14
Expos,
seasons, 17 teams. Yeah.
How
exactly.
many? How many players?
14 seasons, 14 seasons, 17 teams.
So if this was a Peanuts cartoon, you would be Joe Slobotnik.
I was absolutely Joe Slobotnik, yes.
Did you play as a kid?
I played Little League, sure. I was always a baseball fan in New York, where I grew up, and I've always loved the whole sportscaster idiom. And I'm the kind of guy who can sit around all afternoon and watch a ball game, and I see all the flaws in the sport. I like a lot of sports, but it's fun bringing that aesthetic to the Starburns Sports simulcast.
Give me an example of a flaw.
Oh, it's interminable. The games are unmanageably long.
Well,
They're about an hour longer than they were when I was a kid. And
mhm.
what we'll do is we really love doing stuff like saying, isn't that the beauty of baseball, though? Because you could just sit around for an hour and nothing will happen, and then nothing will happen for another hour, and you just want to kill yourself. It's a beautiful game. and, and
So it sounds like you
um,
have to do a fair amount of prep work because, I mean, almost as if you're a real broadcaster, or
oh,
or,
yeah.
or are you winging it?
Well, it depends on the week and the team, but I always do a little bit of research, and I know a fair amount about baseball. There's going to be, unlike most sportscasters, there's going to be players that I don't know how to pronounce their name. But in general, I try to know what the storylines are and what's going on. Obviously, I'm not at the clubhouse before the game, but I talked to. Are you familiar with my podcast? Nobody listens to Paula Poundstone.
Yes, I am. I love Paula.
Okay, that's a podcast that I've been doing with Paula for a couple of years now, and I'm her co-host. And we interview all kinds of people. And about 2 months ago, just by coincidence, we interviewed Jason Benetti of ESPN and the Chicago. It is Jason, isn't it? Not sure I have his first name right, but he's a. I'll look him up as we're talking if that's not too much of a faux pas. But he's the Chicago White Sox play-by-play man, and he does the games for ESPN. And he was talking about what it's like to be a play-by-play man, and I actually got some good tips from him. Tremendously good. Yes, Jason Benetti, White Sox man.
So are you the color guy or the play-by-play guy?
I'm the color guy, but we switch off. It's
Uh-huh.
almost indiscriminate. I mean, Jeff is a good play-by-play guy, and frankly, when there's a guest, the whole calling the game thing kind of goes out the window a little bit.
Yeah.
Depending on how interested in the game the guest is,
Is the guest?
and how interesting the.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I think to anticipate your question, the guest is usually a fan of the team that we're watching.
Okay.
But as you know, on any given night, any given game can be completely meaningless by the fourth inning. So,
Yeah,
we give
well,
baseball a lot of tough love while watching it. And it's just a ton of fun to do.
oh, it sounds like you guys. It reminds me a little bit of the series Brockmire
Oh,
with Hank
Hank
Azaria.
Azaria, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in common with that. I mean, there's a whole strand of irreverent love for baseball in the baseball community, and I think we're very much part of that. I mean, it's not like we're going to have people on the show who don't love baseball, but we're also going to really enjoy just making fun of the whole idiom of sportscasters up there in the booth, home run calls and stuff. We both do a home run call whenever there's a home run. I wait till Jeff's done.
There are plenty of bad home run calls to go around. I know. I don't know if you're a Met or a Yankee fan, but the Yankee announcer, whose name escapes me, thankfully, but he's got a special home run call for every single player, and they're usually pretty.
That's their radio guy. What's his
Yeah.
name? I am a Yankee fan. Shepard, isn't his last name Shepard?
No. Shepard was the PA announcer who passed away.
Shepard was the PA announcer. Yeah.
Is it Sterling?
It's yes, it's Sterling. It's I want to get it right. I think it's John Sterling.
And
Not to be confused with Ron Sterling, the former Clippers owner.
who
That's why you got to be careful there.
Who did a couple of baseball-themed Twilight Zones?
Yes, he did. So Sterling also, when Gary Sanchez hits a home run, he's like, "That Gary is scary."
Or when Aaron Judge hits one, all rise. Here comes the judge, etc. But
yeah,
in any case,
it's amazing.
The guests you have on
My favorite.
Are the guests you have on spontaneous or they're arranged ahead of time?
Well, we book them earlier in the week, and they get to decide whether they're going to just be themselves or play a character. Even we've had characters show up on the show.
Oh, that's great. And these are all available on YouTube.
These are all available on YouTube. You can just go to starburnsports.com, and that'll take you to the current YouTube game, and you can explore from there. But they're really meant to be enjoyed as a simulcast. We're just getting traction there. And I'm told that what we're doing is legal. That was always something I was looking into when I first had this idea.
You're the reason, the guy, they have that disclaimer about the depiction of the whatever.
Well, that's the truth. When you
time.
think about it, we are not showing you the pictures,
Nope.
descriptions, or accounts of the game.
You're not having their audio; it's your audio.
We're just suggesting that you might want to turn ESPN on your TV, and we offer the complete alternate audio track. And I think the rise of certain apps, like, I don't know if you're familiar with Sportscaster.
I used to do Sportscaster.
Yeah, so the rise of apps like that kind of helped clue me in that there was actually a niche for this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That, for want of a better term, we could get away with it. And we're having a blast.
When I go back and think about it, I did that for about a year, and I did Mick games. And in retrospect, I mean, why would anyone want to turn to Sportcaster when they can watch the actual game? I mean, if people did stuff as amusing as you do, that's a different story. But I was not as amusing as you are, so I don't know why they would want to turn in. But I did have a small but loyal following, I guess is the expression.
That's wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. We are just starting to pick up a following, and with technology being what it is, people can chat and write in during the show.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that we really find our feet this season, and that just really have ourselves ready to come bursting out of the gate next season, because it's a great way to spend a Sunday evening when I would probably be watching ball anyway.
Now, when Sklar was on, you talked about what's going on in stand-up comedy right now is that you aren't going to the clubs. You don't have a live audience, which I imagine is like fodder. You need to feed off of that energy from the audience. What are you doing these days? I mean, you do a lot of stuff. You do the Paula Poundstone podcast. You do this. You do the Wait, Don't Tell Me. You're a writer. You're a comedian in your own right. What are you doing these days? You seem like there's not enough time in the day to do everything.
I've been managing to keep busy, which is great. Well, I do the Poundstone podcast every week, and now I'm doing this podcast every week. I guest on other shows, and every once in a while I do a Wait, Don't Tell Me. But those are all kind of sidelines to my writing career. And because TV is shut down, I was lucky enough to find myself a very fun COVID-19 job, which is I am co-writing the memoirs of a Hollywood B-movie director.
For real? Or is this fiction?
For real.
Real?
For real.
Very cool.
For real. I'm writing a book with a guy here in Hollywood who wanted a co-writer, and he's led a fascinating life. I can't tell you too much about it right now, but it was we sold the book to HarperCollins, the William Morrow division, and the book will be coming out in about a year. So day by day, I'm writing what will be my second or third book, but my first nonfiction.
That's very cool. I'm just actually, as we speak, I'm rereading Schrodinger's Ball. I read it years ago when it first came out. And
thank you.
And I'm enjoying it all over again.
I'll tell you, that was 15 years ago. It feels like, and it is the work of a much younger man. Yeah.
that 15. Wow, that's a long time.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
What's it like now doing? I mean, my point of reference is Wait. And I know they have the 3 people live at the Chase Theater in Chicago, Chase Auditorium, pardon me.
Sure, it's all right.
Now, how is that working now? I mean, do you do it by Zoom or you just phone it in? I mean,
we do it by Zoom.
Phone it in has negative connotation. I mean, do you call in?
No, we phone it in. No, we do it by Zoom, and you know what? It's hard to do, but in some ways, it's a return to our roots. For those of us who've been on the show since the beginning, I joined during the first few months of the radio show back in 1998, and back then when the show had almost no listeners, we just did it from our remote cities. I would go to the NPR bureau on 43rd Street in New York City, and I'd go into the studio and I'd be all alone in there, and I would just be hearing my friend Peter Sagal and Carl Castle and the other panelists, over the headphones from whatever city they were in. Peter was in Chicago, Carl was in Washington, My buddy Charlie Pierce was up in Boston. It wasn't until about a year or two into the show that we met each other in person, all of us,
Wow.
at an event in DC.
Cool.
And then we got popular enough to start doing live performances. And I think it wasn't until about 2005 that we decided the live shows are better than all the other shows. So let's just always fly into Chicago if we're not at some alternative destination. And we've been doing it all live ever since.
I got to tell you, one of my favorite episodes is, and you probably get this a lot, Clippy.
Oh, Clippy, yes, the Microsoft.
I love Clippy. I love Clippy.
That was a really fun riff for your listeners. It's it was partly scripted, and then it became completely improvisational. The scripted part was Peter Sagal was talking about something that Bill Gates had done, and said, it was the most animated Bill has been since his 1999 memo, Clippy Must Die. And then it was me and Peter and Paul Provenza, I think, just riffing on this animated paperclip from the Microsoft Word program being, picked up and carted off by assassins in the middle of the night.
It's like a Sopranos episode, it sounded like.
Yeah, exactly. Except he's so chipper, he just wants to help out. He's like, I noticed that you're driving to the darkest part of the forest. Can I help you with that? I noticed you're digging a shallow grave. Will this be a business grave? And we, that was one of the more fun riffs that we've done on the show.
Yeah, always popular. It turns up frequently when they have their greatest hits type of show. Well, Adam Felber, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. It was a real treat to chat with you. I wish you all good luck and safety in the future.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me. Once again, that's starburnsports.com, everybody. It's a new venture. We could use you tuning in.
We can all use a laugh, and even at baseball's expense.